Okay, Lil. Right, Darren, give me that. You got it? Give me the flowers.
Bill's just going over to take some flowers. We're at Haute de la Garenne, and he's just a mark of respect, really. Bill was brought up in care himself, and so were his brothers and sisters, which were abused themselves. Fortunately, Bill wasn't.
A very good evening to you. Hundreds of vulnerable children were placed in the path of sex offenders and suffered cruelty at levels that were hard to comprehend. The main conclusion today of an inquiry into historic child abuse over 3 decades at 5 children's homes run by Lambeth Council in South London. By June last year, only 1 senior member of staff had been disciplined as a result of what the report described as a culture of cover-up. Tonight, one victim living with the trauma of abuse told Sky News that years later, he still doesn't feel alive. Our national correspondent, Alex Rossi, reports.
The Shirley Oaks care home, nestled in a leafy area of Croydon, looks like a slice of paradise. But the child abuse that went on here, and the cover-up, is horrific. Bill Maloney was a small boy when he, along with his brothers and sisters, was taken into care in the 1960s.
This is me, and this is my brother Tony, who was 2 years younger than me.
These photographs were taken on a trip to Hastings. It was supposed to be a happy holiday, but behind the smiles there is darkness and pain of constant abuse.
It was terrible. He sexually abused me over his office table that was in, but it was his bedroom as well.
Bill was one of more than 700 children, according to the report, who suffered physical and sexual abuse in 5 care homes run by Lambeth Council.
Right, that's enough.
Hang on, right after me. Come forward.
Come forward.
Victims, come forward.
Victims, come forward.
To be or not to be?
To be or not to be?
No.
To be.
After me, wait for me, get the time, right? Come forward.
Come forward.
Victims, come forward.
Victims, come forward.
To be or not to be? That is the question.
To be or not to be? That is the question.
Now do it on your own.
Victims.
No, again. Come forward.
Come forward.
Again, keep saying it. Come
forward.
forward. Keep saying it.
Come forward. Come forward.
Keep saying it.
Come forward.
Now say it quickly.
Come forward.
Come forward. Quickly. Come forward. Come
Come
forward.
forward. come forward, come forward, come forward.
Right now, victims come forward.
Victims come forward.
Victims come forward. Say it fast.
Victims come forward.
Keep going.
Victims come forward. Victims come forward. Victims come forward. Victims come forward.
Now say this. Come forward. Victims come forward.
Come forward. Victims come forward.
To be or not to be, that is the question.
To be or not to be, that is a question.
To be or not to be, that is a question.
To be or not to be, that is a question.
Now, come forward. Victims come forward. To be or not to be, that is the question.
No.
No, come forward.
Come forward. Victims come forward. To be or not to be, that is a question.
I can't.
Now, Andrew, you told me that you had sex with David Icke.
Yes.
Where did you have sex with David Icke?
We picked him up from the we picked him.
You
I
picked him
was picked
up,
up from Amsterdam with film equipment.
right? On a boat.
On the boat, the big massive.
Whose boat was that, Chris?
Charles Napier of Azimuth Trust.
And the Azimuth Trust is,
It offered children in care boating holidays. It particularly specialised in very young disabled children.
Okay, now you was on a boat. You was picked up at Amsterdam.
Amsterdam with film crew and a couple of there was 3 of us were me, and I went with the film crew. I was carrying the stuff and.
Okay,
stuff
this was
like
making pornographic movies,
Yeah.
child pornography.
They picked them to set off in England. We couldn't. You couldn't go.
So you went to the Isle of
When they
Wight.
went from England to Innocent, then they picked the camera people up first, went over to Amsterdam to get supplies and stuff and pick up.
And then you went to the Isle of Wight to pick up David Icke. We've got Andrew's stuff, right? We've got Andrew's stuff. I don't know what the fuck this one.
Well, you got some
Is
stuff.
that yours?
That's yours, I think. You got some stuff to play, yeah?
Yeah, I'll show you a little bit of stuff. Show you this cunt blowing the fucking. But this geezer, I tell you what, I've been playing this cunt, you know what I mean?
That's what I was just saying to him.
I've had this cunt crying on the phone.
Andrew.
You wouldn't believe the conversations he's had with Andrew. You just think, oh my God.
David Icke is becoming a predominant speaker against child abuse. Even though he is not a victim himself, he has an empathy with the victims and survivors and their horrific experiences and continuous struggle through life. The film you're about to watch is a short clip from the footage that Billy and Lily shot at David's O2 Brixton Academy event on the 11th of September 2010. David invited Pie and Mash Films along and gave them freedom with their camera to document the day. Bill interviews many of David's audience during the breaks that took place through the 9.5 hours of the show, culminating in a comprehensive interview with David himself. More footage will be available soon. If you are a supporter of Pie and Mash Films, we would ask you to help us to continue with our fights against child abuse and for you and your family's civil liberties by donating whatever you can afford or by purchasing our films from our website to enable us to continue giving you the hard-hitting facts. God bless all victims and survivors.
Bill.
Hello, mate.
So this is the guy who introduced me to you, sir.
Nice to meet you.
Got a good name, Bill. It's my name.
What do you want to do, Bill?
I've been waiting for 20 years.
Well, David, I've been since I've been here. I've been talking to some of your supporters, your fans, and really asking them. I've been asking them how they felt when they went in and how they feel when they come out. So when they go in, they're feeling excited and looking forward to it. And when they're coming out, they're feeling empowered. Now you know what I'm interested in, David. I'm interested in institutional child abuse, really. And as you was saying in your talk with the satanic rituals and the absolute horrors that are going with it. Now, you are one of the very few, let's say, can I call you celebrities?
Oh, God,
don't
no.
get the out with me.
No,
anyway.
no.
But you know what I mean.
Oh, God, no.
But you are speaking up.
Yeah.
You're speaking up in a very strong way, you know, and it's my intention to put sort of your word across as you are talking about child abuse, especially the institutional, the satanic, etc.,
Right.
etc.,
Okay.
to victims and survivors.
Right.
So you seem to you're in that field now, and people are very interested in your opinions on it,
Right.
etc. So, as you know, I'm a victim myself. So
Right.
you're talking to a victim,
Right.
and I think that people do appreciate that. And you did come to the child abuse rally, and you did speak, and we did invite 650 members of Parliament. We now have had one email.
Oh,
back,
they're bloody
you know.
useless, aren't they?
Exactly, David. So you know what I mean. So, what would you say to sort of survivors that are still sitting in the corners, self-medicating on drugs or whiskey, and looking for people to fight their fight? Or what would you say to motivate them, David?
Well, the thing is that you can acquiesce and see yourself as a victim. And I do completely understand why people would see that, because some of the horrors that have been described to me just are beyond the imagination. But if we're going to bring an end to this, then those who have knowledge, those who have information and experience of this, need to do what they can to speak out, because
Come forward.
and you know, when you've been through the horrors that they've been through, how much worse can it get? Speaking out about it. So people call you crazy or whatever. So what? When you've been through what you've been through, what the hell is that? And
I didn't meet Darren, but I'm on my way to see another man who's been talking to XRO and says he suffered abuse over many years. We're calling him David.
I became just nothing. I became abused. I became just cheap. Cheap. Sex is cheap, like just slagging me off. Just like selling me to the highest bidder. I was more vulnerable then than I was today because I couldn't read properly or write.
David started making claims about VIP paedophile abuse in 1990. He'd met Chris Fay at a support group, and he says he was encouraged to name names.
I don't know how Chris got me into saying names. It was done over a period of weeks, you know. It was like done as a joke, suggestion to start with, but that suggestion became reality.
David told me he'd described a distinctive birthmark on one of his abusers.
I scribed a birthmark and a first name and scribed the person, and they said the surname and everything, and says that can only be him. Why should I doubt them?
The man who ended up being named was Leon Britton.
I believed it because I believed that. I don't know. Just believed it. I couldn't say why I believed it. I believed it at the time.
It was 25 years since David had had those conversations. He'd been trying to put his past behind him.
I was doing okay, you know. I weren't doing brilliant, but I was doing okay. And then I was starting to build my life back with my family and everything, and it took years and years and years to do that.
Then 2 years ago, according to David, Chris Fay got back in touch. VIP abuse was in the news again.
He was phoning up every single day. He was phoning up virtually every day, phoning me up like he's talking like he's your best friend, and do everything through me, Chris said. Do everything through me because you can trust me from 1990.
David says Chris Fay wanted him to meet journalists from XRO. They were interested in Dolphin Square, a place he'd first mentioned 2 decades ago.
The conversations we had with Chris Fay on the phone and everything, like, stuff like they just wanted to know about Dauphin Square because you'd said it to us, so it's got to be true, and other people had said the same thing.
David says he's provided information for a number of Exero articles.
They'd used all sorts of bits of stuff. I'd said a lot of truths and everything, and when they looked at the truths I'd told them, they matched and everything. Obviously there was stuff, odd little bits of stuff which I wasn't sure about.
And then David said something extraordinary. He told me he'd called the police, saying he was worried about Chris Fay putting words in his mouth. The police bugged David's home.
It weren't just a bug, it were a camera, it were proper recording surveillance and everything, and they brought a team down from London, and they filmed my house for about 2 months, a long time.
Panorama understands the police did investigate Chris Fay for a possible attempt to pervert the course of justice over David's claims. The Met says it won't comment. David admits he finds it a struggle to recall details, and I'd certainly found it difficult to get a clear and consistent picture from him. In the past, he's been willing to tell people what they want to hear, and it's possible that he may be doing that to us too.
Thanks, Nick, for joining us here at Exero today.
Yet we believe it's David who Exero used to corroborate their first report of abuse at Dauphin Square. The one based on Nick's story, and which propelled the VIP paedophile ring into the headlines.
And then, when they did the Panorama thing, they chose the names and everything.
Yeah.
And the voice. I didn't know until they'd done what noise or voiceover or whatever you know what they were going to do.
Yeah, John Wedger. Yeah, if he's a whistleblower, I'm a carrot. He's the only whistleblower I know without a whistle. And he's coming back again. Whatever.
Bye.